going on, guys? Thanks a lot for tuning in to a no cooling episode. I've been really anxious to finally make one of these. It kind of feels like officially summer, but I know it's not because we're still going to get some 50-degree days here and there, but I will take it. This call should be kind of somewhat an exciting one. I was actually there yesterday and found that it's a new air conditioner that is almost flat on refrigerant. So it was actually causing the low pressure switch to trip on and off every time it turned on. Hooked my gauges up and sure enough, it's very low. So unfortunately, this is the R454B and I did not have enough refrigerant with me because I did an evaporator coil yesterday, so I ran out. But I got some more refrigerant today so we can officially go and do that repair. It's actually leaking at the suction line, so we just have to redo that one braze joint. I checked everything else, nothing else is leaking, it's just that one joint. So of course, everything is going to be under warranty either way. We just gotta make sure that this customer has cooling for the summer ahead of them. By all means, I am not a good brazier, but practice eventually makes perfect, maybe. So I'm going to take you guys along with me to see how this goes. Got my extension cord to reach out here. We're gonna open this bad boy up. I already found the leak yesterday. Actually, I still feel quite a bit of oil here, and there's probably not much pressure left in the system, so I'll pop the video up from yesterday on the screen to show you guys where the leak is. But pretty much right where my finger is where it's leaking. And yeah, actually, I still feel a lot of oil. So let's put our gauges on to start the recovery process. You know, as I said, as soon as the compressor turns on, it pumps all the way down to 50 psi. And then when it drops below 50 psi, then that's when the low pressure cutoff is going to activate and then turn off the contactor, and that's why the unit keeps on short cycling. Gonna have it flow into our recovery machine. Come on. And in this scenario, I'm actually not going to worry about weighing it. I am going to use all fresh virgin refrigerant just because I'm going to want to pull a nice good vacuum on here and kind of start it fresh. Almost forgot. So we're going to want to leave this loose to purge out any air. Open our gauges. This in recover position, crack the inlet a little bit, and let's start cracking the outlet. We're gonna hear some hissing. And tighten it. Here we go. Now we can open this. Hear the refrigerant flowing. But we're gonna wanna close the inlet because on this recovery machine, this is going to be kind of like my throttle, and I'm going to try to keep it around 80 psi. Otherwise, when it gets beyond that, the pressure is too high and bad things happen, and it's going to sound very scary. All the way open. Let's start. This is normal, don't worry about it. Let's crack open our inlet, start adding some pressure. And there's not a whole lot of pressure in here, so it shouldn't take too long. And hopefully I don't need an ice bucket. Yeah, it's going by pretty quick. So let's just let that sit. And I'm gonna go get the nitrogen and my brazing kit. Loving this pack out brazing kit. You guys may have seen me use it last year, but so far I still really like it. Fits everything that I need. And we got the nitrogen. My regulator, it's a decent setup, but the only issue is that with the regulator it only goes up to 300 psi. Which is fine on the majority of my jobs, but not so much for mini splits. I can tell by the sound that it's pretty much about done. Yep, we got 0 on the gauges, 0 on this gauge. So now we're gonna switch the black knob over to purge. Blue all the way to purge as well. It's gonna go up a little bit to do the purge. And we can shut her down. Voila. So now I'm actually gonna shut the valves to isolate the condenser unit. Well, we're gonna grab that when we're pulling a vacuum. I see a lot of guys using impact drivers or drills on these. Please don't be that person. Now, I know quite a bit of guys that braze with the Schroeder cores in. I've literally seen these things melt in here and I can't get them out at all. So I'm actually going to remove them and then use my yellow jacket core removal tools. And those ones are actually vacuum rated, so I can hook up my vacuum hoses to them as well. When you remove the Schroeder cores, you can pull a vacuum much more quickly. Luckily, these are not melted. The evaporator coil that I did yesterday, the Schroeder core was actually melted in there, so that was not fun. Now we're going to do a little nitrogen sweep. Now we're going to back off the regulator so that we can have just barely a nice little stream of nitrogen going through. A little too much, I can hear the hiss. So I'm just listening for a little puff as I hold my finger. I don't want too much. Looking at this joint, I know you guys can't really see, but there's plenty of braze on the bottom here. I'm gonna try to melt all this to kind of get it spread out evenly. We need to dab a little bit more braze on, but hopefully not, since it looks like there's already plenty on there. Shut this for now and get my brazing all set up. I like to wear earmuffs. This stuff gets loud. Not so bad outside, but especially inside. We'll use this little rod just in case. Have that ready. My sparker, all reliable. Doubt this will make a difference, but anything we can do to make it slightly less flammable. Not that this is going to make much of a difference, but so I can actually see what I'm doing here. I haven't had to do a A2L refrigerant line repair yet. This is my first one. Done evaporator coils so far, that's been about it. And those ones I always just cut it and then redo it. So I'm really curious what this A2L, how flammable it really is. Because I know our new procedure is just to cut everything. But see how this goes. Let's get this party started.
And I'm just trying to move it around a little bit.
Looks like junk too, but my concern is that when he was brazing, that he wasn't heating this portion and wasn't getting the braze in all the way, so that's why I ended up adding a little bit. But not perfect, but he made a pretty good seal. So pressurize this up to 300 psi of nitrogen and check for leaks. Ooh, loving this bag. Much more organized. Got my yellow jackets. Important thing with these, make sure before you use them, that you open and close them like that. Hear that little pop? Hopefully the gaskets are still good on these, because I've gone through a lot of yellow jackets and it's not easy to replace these gaskets. Butcher them even more taking them out, and then you butcher it putting them back in even brand new. Hopefully I get a different brand this year that's actually vacuum rated. Hopefully I have enough in this tank. If not, luckily the shop gave me an extra one for today. I think we'll get there. Come on. There we go. Shutter. Like I said, I already checked all the other joints today. Those were completely fine. This was the only leak that I found. Grab my mirror, can check all sides. Not pretty, but nothing is bubbling up. Definitely have more than enough on there. Been on there for a while. Looks like it's holding nitrogen well. Use my little T-tower. This gauge means nothing at all, but I don't feel like capping it off, so it's there. We're gonna use an actual micron gauge. Kind of got it just enough to fit on the suction line, but it's not ideal. As long as the micron gauge is facing up, that's all that matters. Love these hoses. Use them quite a bit, especially last year. They haven't failed me. Hopefully I didn't jinx it though. This on. Keep my micron gauge in here. I put in a fresh battery already for this season. The only annoying part about this setup is just all the gaskets that can go wrong. So make sure it's all good. Get that tight. Make sure I can still shut the valve here. Yep, should be okay. Turn that on. Got some Virgin R454B ready on the scale so I can monitor how much I'm pushing in. I'm just going to put in a little bit, just enough to break the vacuum, and then we're going to open the valves. We're pulling a pretty decent vacuum right now. We're at 378, 379. So feeling pretty good about that. Now we're going to shut these valves, turn off the pump, take these hoses off, put my gauges on, and start adding some refrigerant into the line set. Take my micron gauge off because micron gauges don't like that. Make sure that's open all the way. I'm actually going to have to take this off because I realized I'm blocking my access there, which is fine. Turn that off. Closed actually, before we start adding. Don't want to go too crazy. Purge out any air in my hose. Okay, it's good. Open slightly. Break the vacuum, stop that there. Some guys like to do the Schroeder cores at the end. I just like to put in the Schroeder cores now in case if something goes wrong, because I have gotten Schroeder cores stuck and then I have to just start over completely, pretty much, besides the brazing part of course. But you gotta recover all that refrigerant, and yeah, it's a whole fiasco. I'm not sure how many of you have used a Schroeder core removal tool, but it comes with this piece. I just have them separated because one of them broke, so I just use the same one for each one. The Schroeder core is actually going to go into this slot right here. There we go. And then we're going to put it in there. And again, you want your valves to be closed while you're doing this. So I'm going to tighten this. Now we can open. I felt some pressure on here, and you always have to do this with at least 2 fingers. So now we're going to push in, we're going to feel that pressure, and then start turning with your thumb and pointer finger until it stops. Feel it stopping. Okay. Let's try that. Ta-da! It's like magic. Now let's do it for the other one. Usually I put in brand new Schroeder cores, but these are practically brand new. I mean, the unit's only been turned on once, basically. We're just going to thread this on, get it snug, and then open it. I feel that refrigerant pressure. Feels tight to me. Come on, there you go. That did not work. So, I'm gonna try that again, see what went wrong. Okay, just needed to be tightened a little bit more. Had a little bit more pressure than usual. Either that or my fingers were just getting tired. But that's all good to go. Put our gauges back on. I'm gonna use my no loss fitting. Love this guy. He's on the liquid line. Oh, don't do that. I had the pin pushed all the way in. Yeah, this is how this works. So if you do righty-tighty, it pushes the pin in, and that's what it's gonna push on the Schroeder core. So I'm actually gonna pull this out. that on there. Now we're gonna push that pin in by going righty-tighty. I heard the refrigerant. There we go, we got pressure. And suction side, barely anything comes. Don't mind that. Barely anything comes out, so not gonna worry about a no loss fitting on here. All right, let's also open the valves because we don't want to run the unit like that. Oh, I forgot I dropped the cap in there. I'm supposed to get that while pulling a vacuum. There you are. You don't belong there. Alright, now we're just adding in our refrigerant to get it dialed in with a good subcooling and superheat. It is such a beautiful day out. I'm grateful to be outside and working on air conditioners again. Because being cooped up in basements all winter long. I know I sound spoiled right now because it's easy. I get to be in basements. It's nice to get some fresh air and some vitamin D. We added 5 pounds of refrigerant. We're at 10 degrees subcooling. We're checking the superheat now. And looks like we're at 15, 16 degrees superheat. So that's looking good. Let's just go get a temperature drop to make sure that's actually cooling. Got a good temperature drop of 20 degrees. So that's all looking good. Pressures are good. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. And if you want to see more of this, make sure you subscribe as well. And as usual, I'll see you guys on the next call.